May we then move on to the substantive item 2, which is the board paper on the Commissioning Board programme status. We have a paper, and I'm going to invite Bill McCarthy to introduce it for us. Bill.
Thank you, Chairman. This is the Board's regular report on the progress and all the work streams which will have us ready from next April fully to discharge our function in the interests of patients and the communities we serve. We've made good progress against the work streams, as I think is demonstrated by the report. I just pick out a couple of, I think, important events. The commencement order, Chairman, as you said, is before Parliament, so we're fully on schedule to become an ENDPB, Executive Non-Departmental Public Body, on the 1st of October. We've progressed, and Barbara may want to mention this, we've progressed on appointments to CSU Managing Directors for the commissioning support units to support the commissioning system. The Operations Directorate structure, very important part of the way we'll work in future as a national organisation with local reach, has been published, and we're making good progress on recruitment there. And the mandate consultation is still open. We, following on from the last meeting, have been making very clear our views that the mandate should be a short, simple document all about improving outcomes for patients and communities, and that's the vision we think that we share with the government and making a difference for patients in this country. So all of that progressing to plan. In the board assurance framework itself, I just draw your attention to one increased risk since we talked last time, and it's one of the inherent risks. In other words, if we weren't effective in managing our processes, how problematic would it be? And that's around the finance and information flows, where we've done some reappraisal with Paul, Finance Director, and we do think it's critical to the effective running of an organisation which wants to be evidence-based, wants to understand patient perspective, the service perspective, in order to make the right decisions, that those finance and information flows are really reliable and really high quality. So we believe the mitigations we have in place mitigate those risks significantly, but the signal is it's something that your executives and the board as a whole will want to pay particular attention to, I think, over the coming months. With that point, Chairman, I commend the report to you and ask the board to note its contents. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Paul, is there anything that you'd like to add to that risk?
Not extensively, really. I think it's more of a technical correction than a major reappraisal of the risk. It just strikes me that if we were not doing the things we're doing about implementing the spine in particular, the chances of getting coherent, comprehensive information flows that we require would be very small. So logically, therefore, the gross risk before our actions needs to be higher impact and higher probability than it was, I think, before. But we haven't changed our view as to whether the actions we're taking are adequate, which we believe they are.
May I invite comments from members of the board? Kieran.
I have a specific, which might better hold up for the next one, but there's an awful lot of amber and red and not so much green. If you add it all up, what does it feel like?
I think it feels very challenging, because I think it is. We've been consistent in our approach, have been very open about what we think the scale of the challenge is. We think that's important because it drives our preparation for responses. So, Joe, in the item on recruitment, for example, we know it's been an area where the board's had concerns, and flagging it up in this way means that we've been preparing for mitigating actions which will ensure that even where the risk is high, we can give you confidence that we'll be able to satisfy the critical success factors, getting right people in place in sufficient capacity. So this is, it is challenging, I wouldn't pretend otherwise, but I do think we've got sufficient mitigating actions in place with the right sort of level of focus and resource that I'm not saying we're in danger of not delivering our critical success factors.
3 of which we're coming to review in the course of the agenda today. I mean, I think everybody here appreciates just what an immensely challenging programme we're going through. First of all, over the coming 6 months through to the 1st of April next year, but thereafter we will take some time to oversee the settling in of the new system and to ensure that the outcomes for patients are chased and are delivered. But I think it would be wrong for me not to recognise this morning the enormous load and responsibility that is being borne by our executive team. And it's our responsibility to ensure that risks are identified, managed and mitigated, and to support the team as we go through, I think, one of the most difficult and challenging areas of reform. So thank you. If there are no other issues on that paper,